Hey everybody, welcome back to a very special edition of Woodmere State Revival. Today we are working on the pool. No big surprise. It's a gorgeous sunny day, great day to get some pool work done. But this day is much more exciting than normal because this is the day that we start to fill the pool up with water. Amber's down in the pool right now, sucking up some leaves that fell in over the last few days. And we got a little bit of nasty water down in the deep end to clean out, a few tadpoles, that sort of thing. But once we get that cleared out, we're going to be ready to put the garden hose in there and start filling her up. Let's take a look and see where we're starting. All right, so as you can see, we got a nice, beautiful, bright blue paint job in there. And Amber's cleaning out the shallow end. Let's go down to the deep end in a minute here and suck up the leaves and stuff that fell down into there over the last few days. How's it going, babe?
Great.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Exciting day, too. You ready to put some water in this bad boy?
Yep.
Long overdue, isn't it?
It is.
So we're going to drop the garden hose in a little bit and start getting it filled up. And over here in the pool house, we got a little more work to do. You can see I've got some of the plumbing and everything disassembled. There's the salt cell over there, and then some of the plumbing that goes to the pumps. Reason being, I've got to go ahead and get the last of the wiring done. So I've got the two pumps sitting there. I've got to get those hardwired. I already got the wiring done for the heater, but now we got to do the wiring for the two pumps. Get the control panel all set up and ready to go. We still have to drill a hole in the concrete above the filter assembly, so we can go ahead and fill that up with Zeo sand, get our filter assembly ready to rock. So we are ready to get some work done here. Catch you guys up here in a little bit. Babe, you're doing great down there. It's looking a whole lot better.
Thank you.
Is it smelling any better?
No. It smells like sewer.
It's amazing how quickly that thing gets nasty.
I know, it's gross.
We just had it perfectly spotless when we painted. Cleaned out the drain and all that sort of stuff, but right now we're backflowing the main drain because that's where all the sludge and everything's been sitting. So Amber's been using the shop vac to suck that stuff out. So I just dumped a bucket of sludge over the hill and she's getting ready to vacuum it out some more where I run some water through on the pump house side.
Yeah.
All right, babe, keep up the good work.
Thanks. I can get up.
All right, so we got clean water running through our main drain right now. You can see there's still some pretty nasty stuff in there. Amber's getting ready to plug the pump back in and pump that stuff out of there. We're going to let it flush for about 10 minutes or so just to make sure that all the debris and everything that's in there flushes out. That way when we first turn the pump on, we don't suck all that stuff into the filter. Kind of nasty. Looks like it's clearing up pretty good already though. That's excellent. Alright, so the deep end is spick and span once more. We flushed and flushed and flushed and got a bunch of that junk out of there. And then we got took the broom down there and used that and the hose and scrubbed all the leaf funk off the bottom there, and then just kind of flushed and cleaned and everything. There's a little bit of bits and pieces down there, but nothing too bad. You can see a little rust stain on the paint there. That's a little frustrating. That's some of the old galvanized pipes. There are, I don't know, about 20 feet of galvanized pipes left in this whole pool, and it runs from this upper floor drain or floor return on both sides down to these lower floor returns on both sides. Everything else has been replaced with plastic, but this stuff is encased in concrete, so we're not worried about it rusting out and leaking, but still yet it is rusting a little bit and now staining the pool. The good news is they make all sorts of good chemicals that you can put in when you're starting a pool for the first time, and also when you're operating the pool, that will sequester any iron oxide and then make it, fall out and precipitate and then get sucked into the filter. So there are things that we can put in here that are non-toxic to the skin, but we'll be able to keep the rust staining and everything to a minimum, dealing with some of those old pipe issues. We had thought about taking those old floor returns out and just blocking that off and putting concrete in there and just blocking it off, but we wanted to be able to use our heater and put hot water into the bottom of the pool to help circulate the warm water and warm the entire pool. So we decided to go ahead and use those. So we're gonna have to put up with a little bit of the staining and everything from these from time to time, but for the most part I think with the proper use of some of those rust sequestering agents we'll be able to keep it pretty clean. So next up, I'm going ahead and vacuuming out the skimmers. There's a bunch of bugs and debris and junk down in those. So I'm going ahead and vacuuming those out and then pulling out the temporary plugs that I put in the bottom there. There's two 2-inch threaded holes in the bottom. One we're not using. That's for a vacuum brake in a commercial pool. Actually goes into the inside of the pool. We don't have to use that here. So that one just gets plugged off. And then the other one is the one that goes back to the pump house and goes into the filter pump. So I need to pull out the temporary plugs and then go ahead and apply some PTFE tape, the Teflon tape, and also the paste, and then put those plugs back in. That way we can go ahead and have those all sealed up and ready to rock. And then I've got to put some sealant around the wire coming out of the new LED pool light and going ahead and seal that off just to make sure that if there's any water getting past that it doesn't fill up the conduit and run back to the pool house. And also to make sure that if there's any leak in the conduit anywhere that groundwater can't get into the pool. So I'm going to go ahead and seal that off with some of that polyurethane sealant, and then we'll be ready to start putting water in this bad boy. Alright, so I'm getting the skimmers all cleaned out. I just finished pulling the plug out of this one. See, we got 2 holes in the bottom there. One's for water, that goes back to the pump house, and the other one is just buried in concrete, so we don't have to worry about it. But this plug here will go back in that one on the right and keep any water from seeping out of the bottom of the skimmer. So I just got that cleaned out. It was full of water, nastiness. Sucked the pipe out too. It was pretty gross. And went ahead and sucked out all the spiders and everything else. Got the lid fit nicely in the concrete. And then trimmed out the skimmer opening. Had tape and everything across the front of it to keep paint and plaster, hydraulic cement, everything else from gunking up the opening. And then we got the same thing done on this one over here. That one had to remove the tape off the skimmer opening there, and then it was full of bugs and other nastiness, so I had to vacuum it out as well. So still a little bit of funk down in the bottom of that one, so I'll have to do a little bit more vacuuming on that one. And then this one in the front here gets a plug as well. You can just see sand under it. Didn't quite fill completely with concrete underneath. That's okay. Everything else is completely encased in concrete, so we're in good shape. So we're going to go ahead and get the last of that cleaned up, and then I've got to put a little rubber seal around the light cord and go ahead and install the vacuum fitting. This little guy right here, it's a safety cover, and it's got a slot in the front there for a screwdriver. So you stick a screwdriver in there, and the lid is spring loaded. It's got a little catch on the back of it there to hold your vacuum hose in when you're either doing a manual vacuum or when you're doing a get your cleaner installed, automatic cleaner. And this is that little plug. It's just a rubber plug. It's got a hole right down the middle there for the wire, and then it's slit. And you just pop that over the wire and then shove it up in there nice and tight, and that keeps your pool water from leaking out around your wire, or keeps groundwater from seeping in around the wire as well. I'm gonna get those installed, and I think we're ready to start out in some water. Exciting stuff. All right, so we got the rear skimmer flushed and vacuumed out. I ran some fresh water down the pipe, vacuumed it out, ran some fresh water down the pipe, vacuumed it out. Just really gave it a good cleaning. When we were building the pool, or building out the pool, a lot of muddy water and everything ran up through the bottom of the skimmer and ended up in the pipe. So that was an unforeseen issue that happened, I don't know, before I got this ditch all filled in and before we got the skimmer encased in concrete. The ditch filled with muddy water. We got a real torrential rain and it just ran up, bubbled up through the open ports in the bottom of the skimmer, and then went down the line back toward the pump house. So that really stinks. And then, but I got that cleaned out. And then over here I was just vacuuming out the vacuum line. That's the one on the side of the pool there. That's what we use for our automatic pool cleaner and everything else. So the vacuum line, the main drain, the skimmers, are all in the same manifold, but they're all regulated independently with their own valve. So I'll have the ability to shut them in and out as needed. This is what I just sucked out of the vacuum system. So if you're working on a pool and it sits for any length of time and you flush the lines out or pressure tested, anything like that, always suck the water out of your lines before you start filling your pool, because you can imagine the stench that this stuff has, and that would be in that fresh water that you've just put in your pool. So that's pretty gross. You could get it cleaned out. I mean, you could shock the mess out of it with some chlorine and you know, eventually get it cleared up, but you know, why bother? Why put all that stuff in circulation? So I'm going to continue to circulate some fresh water through the lines and shop back it out till it's running clear, and then we'll be ready to start putting water in this bad boy. Alright, so I'm working on our Hayward LED light. We had to install rubber plug. It looks like a stopper, like they go in the end of a beaker, but it's got a hole through the middle of it and a slit in it. So I had to install that around the cord and then shove that up into the hole in the end of the light niche, and that's what will keep the water in the pool and keep groundwater out of the pool. So now we'll reinstall our light, and last thing I gotta do is go over and install the cap on the vacuum fitting over there. I think we're ready to start putting water in this guy. Cannot wait. Alright, so there you have it. I got the vacuum safety cover installed. And it's real fun, you know, everything I do now inside the deep end has to be hanging off this little ledge down here. The only way to get traction is by going barefoot. So thankfully we do have this little ledge, because that allows me to hang off the coping, work on the light, work on the skimmer opening over there, and just now finishing up the safety cover on the vacuum line there. So you just take a screwdriver, stick it in that little slot there, and then that thing's spring loaded. That little cover pops open with the screwdriver, and then you can just plug in your hand vacuum or your automatic vac. We've got an automatic vac, and then of course we use the hand wand for cleanup here and there. But as you can see, it's getting dark, so getting ready to call it a night. Yeah, I know, there's no water in the pool. So we're disappointed too. We wanted to get water in the pool today, but we didn't want to start it now and then not be able to watch it all night. We didn't want to stand down here and watch it and keep an eye on it. So we'll come down here tomorrow morning, start it first thing, and then we'll be able to keep an eye on it all day, make sure that we're not having any leaks anywhere. And now that I got everything taken care of in the pool, all the lines flushed, skimmers and everything vacuumed out, we got the deep end, the main drain, and all that stuff cleaned out, flushed out. Now that we got all that done, I can focus my time and attention on the pump house. Tomorrow I'm going to knock out the last of the electrical connections and then reattach all the plumbing manifolds. And I got to bore a hole in the roof of the pool house so that we can put our Zeo-Sand down into our pool filter. The ultimate plan is to take the roof off the pump house, but for now we're just going to go with the redneck way, and that's to use a roto hammer and knock a big hole in the roof over top of the filter, because the filter is only a couple inches away from the top of the roof. So we're going to go country on it and knock a hole in it, and that way we can go ahead and fill it up. So we'll work on that tomorrow as well, and then hopefully we'll get enough water in it over the course of the next couple days so we can actually fire up the pumps and get everything tested out. So we'll keep you posted. See you tomorrow.